I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and estro control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today.
You can have it all. Great pay, awesome benefits, a flexible schedule, the chance to grow. At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel technicians to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. If you're ready for a new job and want to experience an award-winning workplace, drive your career forward with us. Visit cox.career/autotech to learn more. That's cox.career/autotech.
Introducing Carvana Value Tracker, where you can track your car's value over time and learn what's driving it. It might make you excited.
Whoa, didn't know my car was valued this high.
It might make you nervous.
Uh-oh, market's flooded. My car's value just dipped 2.3%.
It might make you optimistic.
Our low mileage is paying off. Our value's up.
And it might make you realistic.
Car prices haven't gone up in a couple weeks. Maybe it's time to sell.
But it will definitely make you an expert on your car's value. Carvana Value Tracker. Visit Carvana.com to start tracking your car's value today.
Celebrity voice impersonation not an endorsement. Why go to a single furniture store when you can go to Big Sandy Superstore? Shop and compare America's top 5 mattress brands, plus Nectar and Purple. And choose from over 22,000 in-stock appliances from the top brands at the guaranteed lowest price. Or furnish the room of your dreams with a large selection of American-built furniture. With financing plans for just about anyone, there's nowhere else quite like it. Big Sandy Superstore.
Hello, good morning, angels, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Lan or Alana, and on today's episode, we have a very exciting guest. We have Hyla, one of the co-founders of 437, and in today's episode, we talk about all things 437, how it started, some crazy moments, and how they transitioned from swimwear to also now having athleisure, performance-driven workout attire. We talk about How the Fuck, which is the course that Hyla and Adrien had made, and then we also got into a little personal and fun stuff with Hyla about dating, about relationships, and then we do a little rapid fire Q&A question. Super fun, playful, and light. There's so many amazing takeaways, and I think it's going to be a super awesome episode for you guys to listen to. But let's get into our weekly intention. Actually, before we get into our weekly intention, I want to take a moment to thank all of you guys for your positive feedback on the How to Be That Girl in 2023 series. I can't put it into words. The positive feedback that I've gotten from it is just so heartwarming, especially with part 3. I feel like a lot of people it resonated with, and that just means the world to me. And just know that the things I'm recording in my little 500 square foot apartment here in Toronto mean something, and leave a positive mark on someone or make them feel not alone is just the most surreal feeling. And so I just want to thank you guys for listening and sharing that with me. I always love hearing your feedback on the podcast. It really means the world to me. I'm going to continue to say it, and I'll say it again, but it really, really does mean the world to me. So Thank you for all your love and support. And it just made the end of 2022 really sweet and the start of 2023 even sweeter. But let's get into our weekly intention. Our weekly intention, well, my weekly intention, this could be yours as well, is to drink less coffee or just like have less caffeine. I got into a really bad habit of having 3 or 4 coffees pretty much every day. And I really want to tone it down and also stop having coffee or caffeine after 3 p.m. and see how I feel. I used to do that, but I kind of just fell off of it. So I really want to strive to break that habit and, overcome that. It's not that big of a thing, but caffeine is definitely not the best for you, and I shouldn't have been having it that much, and that's okay. So that leads me into the tip of the week, and this can be applied to breaking any bad habit. It's from Atomic Habits, which is the book that I have recently finished and I always talk about on here. So I strongly advise that you pick up Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a really awesome read. He also has blog posts on jamesclear.com, I believe is the website, which kind of extend based on what he's written in Atomic Habits. But in order to break a bad habit, you essentially want to make it unattractive. He says it's important to choose a substitute for your bad habits and to remove as many triggers as possible. These are the 2 things that I felt applicable to my current situation with drinking coffee. So also a big thing is that I buy a lot of coffee out, which I do love doing, and I'm never going to stop doing that, but it's definitely adding up on the credit card statement. So choosing a substitute for your bad habits. So with buying coffee out, it's making coffee at home, but in substituting coffee for after 3 p.m. would be drinking more water, having herbal tea, maybe having some Bloom adaptogenic drink like their reishi hot chocolate or any of their other mixes, something like that, or even like a juice or I don't know, some other beverage. And then remove as many triggers as possible. Obviously, I can't remove my coffee machines at home, but just like when I go on a walk, maybe choosing a route that doesn't pass a million one different coffee shops, or like learning that I don't have to go into at least one, like that a walk can just be a walk. I know it sounds stupid, but the little things really do add up. Leading into my current faves, I'm really loving cooking at home. You guys know that I've been really trying to get back into this, and I was ordering a lot of Uber Eats, and I was kind of just getting sick of takeout food, and so was my credit card statement. And I'm sure a lot of you, especially if you live alone or you've recently moved out or you're really busy, it's really easy to order takeout a lot. But I encourage you to find the joy in cooking at home and think ahead and think of your future self and meal prep and meal plan and grocery shop accordingly, because I don't know, JC Marie was talking about this on her recent YouTube video. When like you make it easier for yourself, it's more enjoyable, and you may not love the cooking aspect of it, but she like says she loves like the home cooked meal at the end of the day, and so do I. It always just tastes honestly so much better. And so I'm just like my workouts, like sometimes you don't want to start and sometimes you don't love what's happening during the workout, but at the end you're always grateful that you did it. So I'm kind of looking at cooking as that way and trying to romanticize and fall in love. I actually hate Facebook. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to like go off on a tangent here, but does anyone else's Facebook give you friend suggestions of guys that you were talking to or people that you were dating or seeing or anything? Like, I swear Facebook does me dirty. Like, how do you know? I guess maybe because their number's connected to it, but like, how? Facebook, I do not like you. This is really fucking hilarious. Okay, back to regular scheduled programming. Just like re-romanticize it. Cooking at home is honestly so great, and there's so many amazing and easy and healthy recipes on Pinterest, and I'll try to share them as much as I can on my Instagram and link them. I did that tonight when I'm recording this, so definitely loving cooking at home. And my next current fave is reading, specifically Colleen Hoover books. If you've been following me on my Instagram, it's just at Alana Bloomberg, because I know a lot of you guys are new here and don't know my Instagram. I do post on there. I also post on TikTok and YouTube. But reading, I barely read in the second half of 2022. And I kid you not, I've read 4 books or 3 books in the past like 5 days. And I'm already on my 3rd book of 2023, and it's January 3rd when I'm recording this. So I think that says a lot. I really am loving reading, specifically romantic novels, like romance thrillers, Colleen Hoover books, Colleen Hoover. It's just really good. But we're going to bring Hyla onto the pod and enjoy. So I'm here with Hyla from 437. Welcome to Morning Ray.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So I always like to ask my guests, who are you, where are you from, and what is your zodiac sign?
Oh, wow. My name is Hyla. I am the co-founder of the swimwear and activewear brand 437 and the educational platform for entrepreneurs, How TF. I am from Toronto, born and raised, a little bit outside of the city growing up. And then my zodiac sign is a Leo.
Oh, I feel like we've discussed this. I'm a Leo as well.
Oh, are you actually?
Yeah, I'm August 6th.
Okay, I'm end of July. Wow. There we go.
It's crazy. I feel like I'm always attracting Leos and Aries.
Interesting. I feel like I always attract, like, all of my closest friends are all Virgos. I don't know what's going on between Leos and Virgos, but I feel like everyone in my life's either a Cancer or a Virgo. But
wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I always like attract like similar types of people, and whenever I talk to other people, they're like, yeah, I always have like all my friends are always a sign, or like they always like have this character trait.
Okay, yeah, I'm slowly starting to get into like zodiac signs and horoscopes now. It hasn't been something I'm quite educated on, but I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. Have you ever spoken to like a psychic or anything?
No, but I'm dying to.
Well, I have one if you want one. I've spoken to her, and I found her through a friend, and like she predicted my friend's entire career down to like her moving cities, like what kind of role she switched into, like her financial success, relationships, like everything. Like,
wow.
crazy.
That's actually kind of scary, but interesting at the same time. I wonder if there's a little bit of the self-fulfilling prophecy where like they kind of tell you what's going to happen and you maybe like the sound of it, so you kind of make it happen. I wonder if that is it, but I'm sure. I mean, I spoke to a healer last week. I don't know if that's kind of in the same boat, but I'm really into that sort of work.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I always like, obviously I find it interesting to like hear about it, and I don't take it like so seriously. And I think like, yes, like it is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you kind of have it in your subconscious, you know, so then you kind of make those steps and take those actions to get there. But I think it's just like fun.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, so for those who don't know, but I hope they do know, what is 437 and where did it, like, how did it start?
So 437, we are known for our, flattering swimwear and activewear. So our brand started 6 years ago. It was my best friend, Adrien, and I. We were at University of Queens. We were studying business, and we were not really inspired by the traditional career paths, that typical business schools kind of lead you towards, like, a very typical accounting job or a consulting job. And they didn't really speak to us. And when we were in our 3rd year of university, we were studying abroad on exchange, and we were going on a beach trip, and none of the bathing suits we packed were really flattering on our bodies. Like, we are, shorter, I'm gluten and dairy intolerance, and I'll still eat it. So that means I get bloated often. And so, these are just normal things that us women go through. But oftentimes, like at the time, you're either getting a really frumpy looking bathing suit with coverage like on your like hooch area, or you're getting something really skimpy but not flattering. And I was like, okay, for us who want to feel confident, sexy, but I still wanted to look good. So
Mhm.
how do we figure this out? So we honestly started designing bathing suits for ourselves. We loved it. We wanted to like get into the hands of our friends, and we're like, if everyone could wear these suits, everyone would feel as confident as we do when we're in it. And such a vulnerable moment when you're in your bathing suit. So why not be in the thing that makes you feel the best? So that was 6 years ago. We launched it as we were in our last year of university, and we had no idea it would essentially grow and become like a full blown business.
Mhm.
And in the last, I guess, year and a half now, we expanded into activewear. We took the same concept of really flattering styles, you know, elevated, really aesthetic colors, things that you want to wear, never overly branded. And that's just it was really in line with what we do. I work out like 5-6 times a week. Like I was like, I can design activewear so much better than what I'm currently wearing or what's on the market. And we wanted something sustainable too. So we put sustainable, flattering all into one, and we came out with activewear. And that's been my current passion at 437, has been, expanding it as much as possible. And yeah, it's been a really great challenge.
Yeah, I personally like love the bathing suits. I always found with bottoms of other bikini companies, like they would cut me off. Like I'm a curvier, shorter girl, and like
Mhm.
even if it was a seamless bathing suit, it still found a way to cut me off. And 437 are honestly like the only bottoms that I can wear now, because otherwise I feel like uncomfortable and not confident. And like that's not a good feeling. Like you are already in like such a vulnerable position, whether you're in a bikini or you're in your athletic wear, like you want to feel good living life, working out. And I see that mission coming through in your products. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you grow up with parents who were entrepreneurial at all? Any like role models that were entrepreneurial? Like I know like for me, like my parents both like went like the corporate route, like they're immigrants, like they climbed up the corporate ladder and everything. And even like my sister, everyone older than me, my family didn't really go off and like go down this path of entrepreneurship. So were you the first in your family? Or was this something that was like kind of more normal to you?
I think I was the first in my family that knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, like in my mind. Whereas both my mom and my dad, they went through like the medical field. My mom's a dentist by trade. My father's a chiropractor by trade.
Mhm.
Such a Persian thing. And obviously, they wanted me to be doctor as well. Um, I mean, I just remember, you know, they could have just been a dentist. My mom could have just been a dentist working at a clinic, right? But I actually got to experience her be like, I'm a dentist, but I'm going to go up and open up my own dental offices,
Mhm.
figure out the marketing, grow this. And by the time she was like, I would say like early to mid 40s, she had 5 dental offices. And seeing her do that was so inspiring. And mind you, she was a single mom with me, and my parents got divorced when I was younger. So seeing her do all of that, and when we're in the car, she's on the phone with her accountants, her financial advisors, her marketing people, figuring out websites at the time, what's email marketing, like all of that. And I found that to be very interesting. And my father, the same, he opened up his own chiropractor clinic. So it's been always intriguing to me. And I remember my mom said, Hyla, if you don't really know what you want to do, I recommend just at least going and getting a business degree,
Mhm.
because anything you want to do, whether medical, whether you want to be a lawyer, whether you want to be whatever, having some sort of business knowledge helps you understand money, grow money, make sound investments, just be well spoken. So that was really, I always knew I wanted to get into business, and I just didn't really know exactly what.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that was me too. Like I always knew I wanted to do something in the world of business or marketing, or like I knew I just needed to be my own boss.
Mm.
As much as I enjoyed working and learning from someone else and working for these organizations, it never fulfilled me in the way that working for myself like on the side did. Like I always felt so much more driven and passionate and excited and fulfilled by it. I feel like when you know, you just
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's so true.
Speaking of going to Queens and getting your Bachelor of Commerce there, would you say that your education has helped you the most with the development of 437? Or would you say that experience and connections and the network that you've built over the years has contributed more? Because a lot of people are always like, is it what you know or who you know?
It's a really great question. I'm leaning towards the latter of, the experience, the networks. However, I will say that one really great benefit to going to business school or any sort of formal education was the confidence that it gave me.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about my school, although they were kind of pushing us into more traditional paths, one thing was that they almost made you kind of brainwash that like whatever you wanted to do, you could do. Like that you are going to be the best of the best in the business world. You're going to be pro like, networkers. You're going to be the future CEOs. Like they really kind of prep you for that. They
Mm-hmm.
bring in so many people. Like all of the professors were kind of like in that world, and so you kind of just left that program feeling like I can go into a bank and speak business. They'll take me seriously. I can dress seriously, and that sort of confidence allowed Adrien and I to feel like, okay, well, although we're so naive and we have no idea what we need to do for an e-commerce fashion brand, like
Mm-hmm.
we don't know anything about those two worlds. We know that we can research, we can go online, we can walk into a bank, we can, LinkedIn somebody, we can show up to a meeting and hopefully get our foot in the door because we were so ingrained in the networking world. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
business schools really push that. So I think that without that, I don't know how confident I would have been to go into sort of unknown territory, especially with honestly, I mean, when we were starting, there was no one else doing this in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
It was really difficult to even reach out and find a mentor because I remember someone's like, oh, like, why don't you reach out to someone at Joe Fresh, for example? And it's just like, yes, these are bigger corporations, and I'm sure there's some valuable stuff there, but they are not 22-year-old females who are starting an e-commerce business, self-funded, no money, no connections, no network. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I relate there, right? So, and that's obviously why we launched How the Fuck Do I Start? Because like, if we had a roadmap, I feel like our confidence would have been even more so, especially if we didn't have like that business education. But I definitely think like once we started the company, whether I went to go out and live in LA for a few months and I was, traveling a lot. I, got myself a Soho House membership and spent that money knowing that I'm going to try to get my foot in the right doors, like that, those sort of networking tactics have helped us grow a lot more than any accounting, any accounting information that we learned in school. If that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I remember like when I was younger, because I feel like in high school, you're like, oh, it's like what you know. But then as you get older, you really realize like your connections. You could know everything. But if you can't get the connection to help you open that door, yes, you might eventually get there someday, but you're not going to get there as fast.
Right. 100%.
And yes.
100%.
So being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to hellofresh.com/50ray and use code 50ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50RAE and use code 50RAE, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
Celebrity voice impersonation not an endorsement.
Why go to a single furniture store when you can go to Big Sandy Superstore? Shop and compare America's top 5 mattress brands, plus Nectar and Purple. And choose from over 22,000 in-stock appliances from the top brands at the guaranteed lowest price. Or furnish the room of your dreams with a large selection of American-built furniture. With financing plans for just about anyone, there's nowhere else quite like it. Big Sandy Superstore.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
437 is known for getting its product onto public figures like celebrities and influencers, which I think is pretty insane. Firstly, how do you get it on them? And secondly, what is your craziest gifting story to date? Because I feel like there's going to be some crazy ones.
Okay, so the first question was, how do we do it?
Mm-hmm.
Two-part, three different strategies that have helped us the most. The first one is traditional PR agencies, right? You pay a shit ton of money every single month, and they will seed major influencers and celebrities, and you definitely might get some placements. We've definitely gotten placements through that strategy. However, it's not guaranteed, and you have to kind of surrender to the process. So it's sometimes as entrepreneurs or someone on the team, like you really just want to go ahead and do it yourself, and you really can't. And it's very expensive. Like you're looking at least over 50 grand per year. And when you're starting out a company, that's just not, even now, right now we're not working with a PR agency. And I just, there's points of the company where I feel like it's really important. And there's other times where I'm just like, okay, right now our focus is somewhere else. But number one, PR agencies is definitely a start. The second way, like you said, was connections, networks. You know, whether I like DM'd a stylist or literally just, like the crazy story I'll tell you is like I literally physically went somewhere and, tried to get the product in their physical hands, right? It's connections, what, party you end up in, when you're out for dinner and you overhear someone saying that they're friends with such and such, like, do you try to find a natural way to maybe get yourself in that conversation? I've even gone as far as, getting a trainer that was the trainer for this like one major influencer, just so I could see if perhaps eventually we can all make it work out. That one didn't work. Unfortunately, she stopped training that person as soon as I joined. And I was like, great. Now I'm paying so much money for this session out in LA, but and then the third method is honestly DMing. The Kylies and the Kendalls are not necessarily responding to their DMs from a smaller brand. However, we got in a lot of Meg Thee Stallion, for example, or Miley Cyrus. Like there's a lot of people that we actually are in contact with through our DMs, and especially if you reach out to them before they blow up. So right when COVID started, we were reaching out to Addison Rae, Charlie D'Amelio, and they were responding. They were accepting so much of our packages. They were posting, tagging. But then as we continued to DM, obviously the response times got a lot slower as they started blowing up. But, you really have to know, okay, Too Hot to Handle just came out. Let me reach out to everyone before they blow up. Like that's a lot of the strategy there as well. So the third one is definitely like doing it yourself and reaching out. And in terms of the craziest story, so when I was living in LA about 1 year into the company, or even less, I sold my Jeep, by the way. I had a car in Toronto. I sold it, and I used that money to go live in LA. I just always wanted to go live in California. Like I was always just drawn to the West Coast. But I also knew that this is going to help me gain that confidence that we are like this relevant fashion, social media driven brand. Like a lot of it was happening out there. You don't have to be there, but it helped you kind of get that sort of, I don't know what it is, like that kind of understanding of what that world is kind of like.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that Tammy Hembrow was having a meet and greet North LA. And mind you, like I was like no money. Like I just sold my car. I'm living off the, I don't know, like $10,000 for like 3-4 months, including rent, including everything out in LA, such an expensive city. Um, and I'm just like not getting paid. But I was like, all I had was about like 300 bathing suits on us, like in inventory, no customers yet. And we're like, we just have to get this product into people's hands. And so I take a probably $45 Uber because I don't have a car there to where her meet and greet was. It was with Good American. And I waited in line for an hour with a bunch of like younger, 18-year-old girls there.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally get into line. She's like, "Oh, do you want like a picture with me?" And I was like, because that's what everyone came for. And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Like, I'm not gonna, like, no, like, yeah, we can be together.
Don't want a photo with you.
It was very memorable because obviously that led to something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, "Hey, Tammy, like, no expectations, but I just wanted to give you this bathing suit. You're such a role model to us, and we think you'll look amazing in it." And I just assumed that she was gonna lose it, give it to an assistant, and it was gonna be gone. Next thing you know, the next day she's like at the Montage Beverly Hills. She's wearing it by the pool, tagged us. And then all of a sudden, all these influencers that were not responding to our DMs, or, some of the girls that made like sly remarks when we were starting the company, they all of a sudden were like, "Oh my God, this is 437." And all these influencers started responding to the DMs. And that was back in the day where like there's like no Toronto brand was like on a like influencer. She was so relevant at that time. Influencer marketing was huge at that time. Like if you got a placement like that, you literally will see orders like blowing up. Things have obviously changed big time, but I remember like days before that, I was crying. I was breaking down thinking like, what, like, I don't think this company is going to grow. Like what's going on? Like we're not selling anything. And then that validation of just the fact that someone like her who gets all these bathing suits sent to her would wear it and tag us. I'm like, we're on to something. Even if whatever, maybe if she forgot to pack a bathing suit, I don't know. But sometimes you just need these sort of the universe to kind of show you that, hey, you keep going. Like, and so that was probably our craziest influencer gifting story.
Wow. Well, like she could have chose not to wear it. So like
It's true. It's true.
I think like everything like happens as it should and when it should. And sometimes like the universe pulls us back in order to like shoot us forward. Even like I've been in these laws, like I've been working for myself now for, it'll be 2 months tomorrow, or in 2 days. It'll be 2 months of me working completely for myself. Thank you. And like I was in a lull for a bit. I was like, I'm not getting any brand deals. Like what's going on? It's like I left my job and now it's like it's slowed down, and like the past like few weeks like things have picked up and like other opportunities have come into light. And like I really just think everything happens in a divine timing, and you just kind of have to like trust the process. And especially like that story like just like shows it to you.
Yeah, it was definitely the push that we needed. Yeah, it's wild.
And now here you are.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, wow. Time flies. It's been so long since then, but time really flies.
Okay, so you recently expanded into athleisure. What has this expansion been like? Were there any obstacles? What part has been your most favorite? Was it different than when you launched swimwear? Did anything from swimwear translate into athleisure?
That's such a great question. I think when any brand launches a new category, it's definitely an experiment, and it takes time to get to the same size as what you're known for. And so when we were launching activewear, we didn't go into it being like, it's going to do 50% of revenue and 50% is going to be swimwear, and that's how it's going to be. It's like we understood that it's going to take some time for it to be as big as swimwear for us, for example. And yeah, it's been a really interesting process. We're definitely surprised. Like, for example, this Black Friday, on actual Black Friday, our activewear was our number one purchase, our espresso set. Our espresso set was the number one seller on our Black Friday. And I was so shocked. I'm like, how did our activewear beat swimwear when we've been a swimwear brand for 6 years and an activewear brand for like a year and a half? Like, I was just so shocked, but I was so happy because I don't know, I'm just so passionate about activewear and the wellness space that for me, I would actually just love to continue to expand there. But But yeah, I mean, in terms of challenges, I mean, we're just constantly listening to feedback. Do they want more obvious logo placements, more subtle? Do they want the more bright, fun colors, or do they want more subtle and neutral colors? Is it a more creative element, in the sports bras, or they like simple and supportive? So, rather than challenges, it's almost just like constant iterations and learning and growing. So I've been loving the activewear journey. I get so excited by it. And I'm so grateful that our community is even, um, you know, trying it out, like it's not like we're in a department store that they're going to go and try it on. It's like they are taking that risk ordering it online, and it's just been incredible. Like even the returning customer rate we have for activewear has been so high. So it's just it makes me really happy, but I also know we have a long way to go, and we also never want to forget who we are. And swimwear is very important to us, and so we have been working so hard on 2023. Like, oh, I'm actually going to be shooting a collection in Paris in a few weeks for our first major swimwear drop. And this year we have so many different major themes launching, and a lot of apparel pieces going with each swim collection and activewear. And I'm so excited. Like some of these dresses and little 2-piece sets that we have coming this summer, I'm just like, I'm manifesting a trip so I can wear everything. I'm really excited. The team has been working very hard.
Well, I'm excited. I feel like 2022 was a really big year for 437, so I can only imagine what's going to happen in 2023. I feel like everyone was kind of like starting to like blossom more this year, and I just can't. I feel like 2023 is going to be like a really good year for 437 for everyone. I don't know. I have good energy about it.
I really hope so. Running a company is no walk in the park whatsoever. And a lot of times people are like, oh, you guys are killing it. It's all shiny on the outside, but it's like, it is every single day I'm putting out fires. So when I hear compliments like that, I'm like, thank you. But I'm like, oh, some of the internal struggles I have to go with is just crazy.
There's the pros and cons of everything. Absolutely. You can't have it all be butterflies and angels and
100%. I was talking to that with a friend recently. I was just like, listen, every career has like the good parts and then the very challenging parts. Mm-hmm. You just have to figure out like which one are you best at? Like which challenges of all these different careers are the challenges that you're capable of dealing with, and which pros of each career are you most excited by, and that's how you kind of know what it's meant for. And entrepreneurship I think is something that I've been loving, and it's definitely challenging. And every single day in my gratitude journal, I'm like writing all the positives about it, so that anytime some of the negatives come up, I get to stay in that positive mindset. Yeah. But just like anything, really.
I love that. So speaking of entrepreneurship, and obviously we just discussed like growing 437, you have How the Fuck. What is it? Who might be interested in it? Where did it come from? Basically give us like the little elevator pitch of it, because I'm sure people are intrigued. I know a lot of my listeners are either in college, recent grads, very interested in like entrepreneurship or starting their own businesses. So I feel like it would be fitting for them.
Mm-hmm. So the number one question in my DM requests has always been like, hey, Hyla, like I've been so inspired by 437. I'm in college. I really want to start a brand. Would love to grab coffee and pick your brain and learn how you started, right? Or it's just, hey, how did you start 437? Like those are just the most common questions I get. And I love grabbing coffees. I will, always network whenever I can. But in my mind, I was just like, what I can say in 5 minutes or 30 minutes can be inspiring and can be like a little nudge, but it's not a roadmap. It's not really going to make it easier. It's just going to give you like a little boost of inspiration, right? Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, when I was starting, what would have benefited us? Whether once we realized we wanted to start a company, we had the idea and a roadmap for that. But even, sometimes you just want to know what it takes. Is this right for me? Should I do this? What is it going to entail? That's where the inspiration for how the fuck do I start came. And, if you want to say it, how TF do I start? And essentially it's a virtual master class of, 17 different modules on everything you need to know about starting a brand. So from figuring out your idea, a positioning map, like how do I figure out what my value propositions should be based on, the competitors out there, or how I want my brand to be different, to finding a manufacturer, to your marketing strategy, to, influencer marketing, to like literally everything, even the mindset you need to have as an entrepreneur, building out collections, books to read. It's just, there's so much in there. And we just wanted there to be that resource, so that you really know what it takes. And while you're building out your brand, you can just go to each module, learn, take some notes, maybe focus in on that part. And then when you're ready to go into, let's say, influence marketing, then you watch that part. And we have had so many incredible stories come out of that course. It's just wild to me to see some of the graduates and like where their companies are now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what inspired us this past year to do essentially like a 2.0 version, which is called How the Fuck Do I Scale? And that's specifically more suited for entrepreneurs who have their business. It's a proven business. So there is revenue, whether it's, you made at least 50,000 or 100,000, it's like a solid, this is your job, like you're continuing to grow this company. It's essentially built on how to make your first million and beyond. And even if you've already made $1 million or more, we've partnered up with incredible entrepreneurs on this course that even myself right now, I didn't know half of the stuff that they were talking about. We're talking like website optimization, funnels, like ads, like everything you need to know about like the other parts of the business that maybe a creative or more of the marketing side like myself doesn't really know and isn't strong at. And for those people who are all about like the tech and the ads and the web and the funnel and the email, we talk about everything else, like how to have a pop-up and have, lineups that are, so long, and how to build a community, and how to do influencer trips, and how to design a collection with an influencer. That's something, 437 has done quite a bit of. And so in the second course, I go into great detail on, I show the contract that I've used to build a collection out with an influencer, and how do I pitch them and all that. So yeah, that's just like a little elevator pitch essentially on, what I'm passionate about now, which is helping other entrepreneurs get build their dream business, because it was so difficult when we were doing it. I made so many mistakes, expensive ones that had took a toll on my mental health. So I'm like, if I can just at least put it all out there, I can at least help prevent some of that headache, and they could focus on other parts of the business.
I love that. I feel like the older generations are so quick to like gatekeep and like kind of just like keep everything. It's like, oh, I'm successful and like you're asking me questions. Well, no, you have to go figure it out yourself. And I think moving forward, a lot more people, especially entrepreneurs, are really open to having these conversations and kind of like sharing the behind the scenes and sharing the quote unquote secrets and like tactics, because there's enough to go around. There's enough for everyone to be successful and to have their own brands, and there's enough.
There's more than enough. So absolutely, I completely believe in that. And yeah, I mean, I think entrepreneurship got extremely popular during COVID, a little bit too glamorized, because I think people like went ahead and launched all these like brands and they weren't necessarily passionate. There's a book called The E-Myth, and it's really good. And it talks about how, you get really good at something and you're like, oh, well, I'm a top baker at this bakery. And then I see, the owner of this bakery, they're making the money, and like they're barely in the office or barely in the bakery, and they're not working as much as I am. And they're like, well, I should do that. And then this baker whose passion was, making these cupcakes, for example, goes and opens up their own bakery and realizes that they never get to do that passion anymore. Now they're dealing with all of the legal headaches, the accounting headaches, the personnel headaches, and now they're unhappy. Their skill set is not in, running a business, but was in the more, creative and the actual baking aspect of it. And it really more so talks about understanding what it genuinely is like. And some people are meant for it, and some people, can learn the skills to become that. But more often than not, it's just like you think you want it, and then you go there and you realize that, like, listen, there is nothing wrong working for somebody or working at another company, or like I knew that, like, if I wasn't going to be an entrepreneur, I would have loved to work like head of partnerships at like Google or at whatever, like I just love the idea of, being a really exciting role at a company that I'm passionate about, and being able to log off when I get home. Like, like that sounds so incredible. Like,
yeah.
people don't understand how good that is. And you're not responsible entirely for how the organization does. You don't have to take liability if shit hits the fan. And listen, if someone fucks up at my company, it's going to come on me. So like, sometimes you don't want to have to burden that responsibility all the time. So it's just very interesting, because I really think it's important for people to understand if entrepreneurship is meant for them. And if it is, like, you go hard, you go at it, and you learn as much as you can and you kill it. But I just want to make sure that people aren't just doing it just to put in their Instagram bio, like co-founder, whatever, because like it's just, you realize you might not be as passionate about it and you become miserable. So it's just like one of those like interesting things that I think ultimately we just want to see everyone happy and successful and internal peace. And being a co-founder or making more money or having a nicer car, having a Chanel bag, like none of that stuff is going to bring you that internal peace. But doing something that's fulfilling and having incredible relationships with your friends, with your family, with your spirituality, with your religion, whatever that is, like that's really what's going to make you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I feel like there has, like, especially because of TikTok, there's been this push that you have to have a side hustle and you have to be an entrepreneur. And if you're not working for yourself, then you're a failure. And that is so far from the truth. And I feel like I always am having this conversation with my friends, because like they are working corporate jobs and they see like, oh, I get to travel, or I can schedule an appointment in the middle of the day sometimes. But like, it's not for everyone. And if you love your corporate job, if you love having a manager and a team and like being able to log off and having insurance, great.
Absolutely. I mean, trust me, if there's ever a day in my life where 437's not in the picture, you might find me working at another company. Like, I don't I love being my own boss, don't get me wrong, but I also love the idea of coming onto someone else's mission and showing my skill sets in a very specific way. At 437, I have to like do so many different things, but imagine if I could just focus in on like one thing I love, but then also, reap the benefits of not having to have the entire responsibility of the organization on me. So, and you're so right. Like, I think
being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to HelloFresh.com/50Ray and use code 50Ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50RAE and use code 50Ray, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
there was this huge shift of like girl boss culture and hustle culture. And I'm glad that, especially if you're on TikTok and you're kind of seeing the other side of things now, that there's a little bit more of a balancing out happening, because I was definitely in that like girl boss culture. I was definitely part of that wave. I was definitely part of the, entrepreneurs that are doing it. And as one of the people that they would talk about in terms of like that sort of girl boss culture. And it's so interesting. Like I feel like I'm almost the opposite of it, especially now. Like I really prioritize that soft, soft feminine, slowing down, and that's why I just ultimately feel like I want to be more in my feminine. And like more often than not, people don't understand like this entrepreneurship world is a lot more masculine, and not everybody wants to do that. Me having to tell people what to do. I mean, I try to my best to inspire and empower more than anything, but it's never fun having to like let go of somebody, or having to make very difficult decisions, or talking about revenue so much. And sometimes I do think that that girl boss culture was a little bit toxic, because like you said, it was inspiring people to feel like they were inadequate if they weren't part of that. Whereas there is literally, not that there's nothing wrong, but there is so much beauty in the opposite as well. I ask my boyfriend this all the time. I'm like, if I wasn't co-founder of 437, Forbes 30 under 30, like all this, whatever, would you like look at me the same? And like, would you still be as attractive, whatever it is to me? And he's like, I don't like that's amazing what you've done, but that's not why I like you like whatsoever. Like there's respect for it for sure, but it's not like, he's like, if that wasn't in the picture, nothing would change between us. That's not why you're my girlfriend, And when I heard that, like that, something like shifted inside me, because so much of my identity and what I was proud of in my life was about 437. And I guess, sure, I mean, it should be part of it, but that's just such a fraction of who I am. And ultimately, when I'm working towards motherhood and being a wife and being a friend and being a daughter, whatever that is, like my business is not necessarily part of my entire life, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you agree.
No, I agree to that and like feel that, because I don't know like how much dating around you went before finding your boyfriend, but I don't know, like I'm single and like I've gone on my fair share of dates. I've probably gone on like a million dates over here. Like I've made like a joke like dating wrapped for my friends. But I always feel like I'm being grilled on dates. Like I feel like I'm on a freaking interview, because the guys are just like, normally like I feel like in the dynamic for my friends, and I kind of wish I had this a bit more, but like I feel like you ask the guy more about their career, and when it comes to you, it's more about like your life, like whatever. But when it comes to me, I feel like I'm being grilled on like, what do you do for a living? Like, oh, like you do influencing, you work for yourself, and like you do like
and
freelance stuff.
They start asking you about it. Oh, do you make a living off of it? Like, it's just, you're so right. It's not like, men, like, please stop asking women so much about their career. It's one thing to be like, okay, like, how do you spend your days? That could be a nicer way to ask the question. But like, I understand why it is, because we have this entire, like, we as women, we've fought for this equality of we want our careers to be just as important. And I think that is strong and that's powerful. But what we also are doing is then we put ourselves in these buckets of like, we want to almost be also, as our careers to be as important for us as it is perhaps for a man whose innate nature is to want to work and provide. That's just more when we talk like more that sort of, I just feel like there's almost like this shift in terms of like masculine and feminine energy. And you're right. I don't think that it would feel good to be grilled on like our profession. And I remember that when I was single and I would go out, it would be like, so what do you do? And I own a swimwear brand. It's like, oh, like, do you guys have a website? Or like, how many, like, do you have a few customers yet? Like, and first of all, I'd have to prove myself that
I always felt like I had to prove myself. And it was either like you felt like you have to like then put on so much like masculine energy in
Yes.
order to prove that you were worthy of like, or like
Yes.
successful.
Right.
But then if you like held too much feminine energy, then you felt like you were being judged, like that you're kind of looking down upon, like, oh,
Yes.
you and your little business sort of thing.
Exactly. And it's just, yeah, I don't know if we'll figure out the solution, but I just feel like it's definitely, it doesn't make, I mean, at least for you and I, it doesn't make us feel sexy, right?
Mhm.
Being in that position and having to either prove ourselves or to then be feeling belittled if we don't speak up, right? So, yeah, it's just a very interesting thing. And I wonder how whether it's dating culture or the sort of energies of masculine versus feminine kind of shifts in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I hope it kind of gets to a place where as women we feel a lot more comfortable in doing what it is we feel good doing and talking about.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm not placing so much emphasis on a man and his career when I'm on a date with them. Like, you kind of want, like, when you're dating and when you're having a romantic relationship with someone, you go to them to escape from it almost. Like, yes, like, you want them to, like, motivate and inspire you and, like, push you and challenge you when it comes to your career, but you don't want that to be the entirety of your relationship.
No.
You should be able to relax and
Yeah.
feel comfortable and be yourself
Yeah.
and embrace more of that feminine energy too.
A date shouldn't have to feel like an interview. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, shouldn't be like a networking event.
No. But we're going to move on to some rapid fire questions to wrap up the pod app. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions and in a few words, one sentence, keep it short and sweet, you'll answer. Okay. I think it will be fun. Okay. What is your go-to coffee order?
Probably like a matcha with oat milk and a little bit of vanilla.
You're at a bar. What are you ordering?
A bar?
Yeah.
It's like a fancy one, probably an espresso martini.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Morning or night workouts?
Morning.
Same.
Yeah.
One thing you wish you could tell your younger self?
Like, keep joy as like the number one thing. Like, never jeopardize your joy for your career, for somebody, for education. Like, always, like, happiness is one thing, but I think joy is the next level. Always keep joy like so important to you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You're booking a meeting with a client. Where is it?
You know what? If it was up to me, I'm gonna go to like a nice workout class, maybe like a sweat and tonic, and then we'll like chat over a smoothie after. I wish that was like could be a thing.
I would take you up on that meeting.
Okay, let's do it.
Fave bar at Queens.
Oh, Ale House for sure, second floor in the corner. That's where we would do our little Friday nights.
Go-to spot in Toronto. Can be like going out, restaurant, anything.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to say Bar St. Lo. I am also an investor there, so I'm biased, but I just like, for me, a lot of times I want like good music, good food, but just like a really chill atmosphere. And I just think it's perfect for like, hey, it's 8 p.m. on a Friday. Let's go grab some bites and drinks and have like a good environment that turns into a party also. So that's nice.
Okay. I've been seeing more of that place, so maybe I should go check it out.
Definitely have to. Let me know.
What do you ask for when you get your nails done?
I typically do kind of like a I don't know, what is this called? Like kind of acrylic. Like I like to make it longer. And then I'll do like typically I have like a deep French with shellac.
And last question, go-to power outfit for business presentations or meetings.
Ooh, okay. I like to keep it like professional with like a hint of sexy. So I'm like a big fan of like, let's say like those sort of longer dresses that kind of come to like past your knees, whether it's a long sleeve or a short sleeve, with like a neutral color. So like a nude, long, tighter dress with a pair of like beige Louboutins, for example, and very professional slick back ponytail. I love dressing like that for a panel, for example, because it's like still shows like your body a little bit, but you're still taken seriously without having to always wear a suit. But that's nice too also.
Okay. And to close it off, what's one piece of advice you want to leave the audience with?
We talk a lot about business and achieving goals and all of that, and that is so important. But I think that the most important thing is your well-being, your happiness, your peace, and your health. And I've been there where I've sacrificed those for whether 437, for parts of my life. And it was like those moments were not necessary. Like you can prioritize everything and still achieve your goals. And just never forget that, because trust me, like what is the point of a successful company making money or having a nice house if literally like if you are sick, you will sell it all to get better. Like you will. So I just feel like always keep your health and your joy and your peace number one, and then build everything else from that base.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
No, you literally can't. Absolutely. So.
And where can the audience find you? 437.
I think the best is my Instagram at Hyla and Nayeri. In my bio there's the 437 tagged, and then there's how the fuck is tagged as well. So if you're interested in the courses or checking 437 out, everything gets linked from my Instagram page.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod. It was a pleasure to have you on, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. I feel like we've just been chatting for the last hour.
Yeah, I know. It really just like flew by.
Yeah, no, that was a really fun, really great conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Morning Gray. If you liked today's episode, I would love if you could leave a rating on Apple or Spotify, as that's how you can help support the podcast. If you leave a review, that means even more of the world to me. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys. Love you.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You can have it all. Great pay, awesome benefits, a flexible schedule, the chance to grow. At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel technicians to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. If you're ready for a new job and want to experience an award-winning workplace, drive your career forward with us. Visit cox.career/autotech to learn more. That's cox.career/autotech.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.